Hello, it's Mrs. Paglia, and today we are going to begin reading one of my all-time favorite books, The Hobbit. And in today's part of our story, we are going to learn about two things. We are going to learn about hobbits, a specific hobbit named Bilbo Baggins. There he is. So we're going to learn a little bit about him. And we're going to learn about Hobbit Holes, which are the houses where hobbits live. There is a picture of Bilbo's Hobbit Hole right here on the cover of the book. And we're going to do an activity when we're finished to look at some more Hobbit Holes. So sit back and relax while I start our story. Chapter 1, An Unexpected Party. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and an oozy smell, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. It had a perfectly round door, like a portal, painted green, with a shiny yellow brass knob exactly in the middle. The door opened onto a tube-shaped hall like a tunnel, a very comfortable tunnel without smoke, with paneled walls and floors, tiled and carpeted, provided with polished chairs and lots of pegs for hats and coats. The hobbit was fond of visitors. The tunnel wound on and on, going fairly but not quite straight into the side of the hill. The hill, as all people for many miles around called it, and many little round doors opened out of it, first on one side and then on another. No going upstairs for the hobbit. Bedrooms, bathrooms, cellars, pantries, lots of these, wardrobes. He had whole rooms devoted to clothes, kitchens, dining rooms, all were on the same floor and indeed in the same passage. The best rooms were on the left side going in, for these were the only ones to have windows, deep-set, round windows looking over his garden and meadow beyond, sloping down to the river. This hobbit was a very well-to-do hobbit, and his name was Baggins. The Bagginses had lived in the neighborhood of the hill for a time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable, not only because most of them were rich, but also because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. You could tell what a Baggins would say on any question without bother of asking him. This is a story of how a Baggins had an adventure and found himself doing and saying things altogether unexpected. He may have lost the neighbor's respect, but he gained, well, you will see whether he gained anything in the end. The mother of our particular hobbit. What is a hobbit? I suppose hobbits need some description nowadays, since they have become rare and shy of the big people, as they call us. They are, or were, a little people, about half our height and smaller than the bearded dwarves. Hobbits have no beards. There is little or no magic about them, except the ordinary everyday sort, which helps them disappear quietly and quickly when large, stupid folk like you and me come blundering along, making a noise like elephants, which they can hear a mile off. They are inclined to be fat in the stomach. They dress in bright colors, chiefly green and yellow. They wear no shoes because their feet grow natural leathery soles and thick, warm brown hair like the stuff on their heads, which is curly. They have long, clever brown fingers, good-natured faces, and laugh deep, fruity laughs, especially after dinner, which they have twice a day if they can get it. Now, you know enough to go on with. As I was saying, the mother of this hobbit, of Bilbo Baggins that is, was the famous Belladonna Took, one of the 3 remarkable daughters of the old Took, head of the hobbits who lived across the water, the small river that ran at the foot of the hill. It was often said in other families that long ago one of the Took ancestors must have taken a fairy wife. That was, of course, absurd, but certainly there was something not entirely hobbit-like about them. And once in a while, members of the Took clan would go and have adventures. They discreetly disappeared and the family hushed it up. But the fact remained that the Tooks were not as respectable as the Bagginses, though they were undoubtedly richer. Not that Belladonna Took ever had any adventures after she became Miss Bungo Baggins. Bungo, that was Bilbo's father, built the most luxurious hobbit hole for her, and partly with her money, that was to be found either under the hill or over the hill or across the water, and there they remained to the end of their days. Still, it is probable that Bilbo, her only son, although he looked and behaved exactly like a second edition of his solid and comfortable father, got something of a bit of queer in his makeup from the Took side, something that only waited for a chance to come out. That chance never arrived until Bilbo Baggins was grown up, being about 50 years old or so, and living in the beautiful hobbit hole built by his father, which I have just described for you, until he had, in fact, apparently settled down immovably. We will stop here for today. So for today's activity, we are going to look at hobbit holes. So in a few moments here, you're going to look at some pictures of hobbit holes and houses. And before I say goodbye, I want to talk about one feature of a hobbit hole, which is almost certainly a good giveaway of whether it's a hobbit hole or a house. You heard in the story that hobbit holes have doors that are round. So I'm going to show you. This is a round piece of wood, just like the door of a hobbit hole would be. And they had a door knocker right in the middle made of brass. So here is an example of a hobbit door. Now in your house, and really in most houses, we have square doors, or I should say rectangular doors. So this would be like the door in your house. It's like a rectangle. It opens up, you come inside. So this is what a house door would look like. But a hobbit hole has a round door. And if you were listening to the story, you would have heard what color Bilbo's hobbit hole door is. Do you remember? It was green. A green door with a brass doorknob right in the middle. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm excited for you to look at the pictures of hobbit holes and houses and see if you can spot which one is which. Next week I'll be back and we're going to learn about wizards. Have a great week.